Hey friends, and welcome back to another week of What's for Dinner. This is the affordable, fast, budget-friendly meal ideas. As I always say, I'm a Gemini with ADHD that does not enjoy cooking, and I do not enjoy being in the kitchen too long, but at the same time, I do have to feed my family. We're not about being fancy schmancy, we're about getting food on the table and our bellies are full. Over here, it's a judgment-free, drama-free, stress-free zone, so hopefully you find a little inspiration to stay at home and cook for your family and stay off that DoorDash app. I only say that because I was queen of DoorDash in 2021 and I'm all about saving money. So moving into Monday night, I love a good old crock pot recipe. So what I did is I had 4 large-sized chicken breasts and I just went ahead and threw them into my crock pot. I did make sure to spray my crock pot with some Pam, and then I'm going to go ahead and season it with my Redmond salt, some pepper, and of course my standard seasonings of some, I guess they're called onion chips or something, but this is onion powder, this right here. I don't remember what they're called, but anyways, then from there I did add a little bit of garlic. Now this is where I like to sneak in some turmeric, some ginger, as well as you're going to see some liquid aminos added to it as well. But I feel like nothing can hurt to add these seasonings in because it's only beneficial. So I found these teriyaki types of I don't know what to call them, but they're like a seasoning. So I just threw that right into my crock pot. And you're gonna see that I did put the crock pot on high. Now I only did that for about an hour, and then I turned it down to low and let that cook for a good 4 hours, as long as my chicken temperature was 165 degrees. So as sides, I did some instant rice and some green beans. I also made some deviled eggs, and this was our dinner for Monday night. Super easy, absolutely love doing things like this. And that teriyaki sauce was only like $1 at Walmart. Moving on to Tuesday night, I wanted to do tortellini Alfredo, but I kind of made it into like a little casserole dish, a little something different. So to my saucepan, I added some olive oil, and I went ahead and let that heat up for a bit. What I do next is, after that has heated up, I take my chicken and I just use a pair of kitchen shears, and I just start chopping it right into the pan. Once I've got my chicken completely chopped up, I do go ahead and season it with my standard seasonings. I always use my Redmond salt because of the health benefits. It was something that my natural functional medicine doctor recommended, so I always make sure to have the Redmonds linked down below. I also use some pepper, some onion powder, my garlic, and I actually used oregano in here as well, and just let that cook together. You're gonna see I did add a little bit of butter to the mix because everything's better with butter in my opinion. So anywho, I went ahead, I let that finish cooking. While that was cooking, I got my pot of water ready for my tortellini. As always, I add a ton of Redmond salt into my pasta water. It makes everything flavorful, and you gotta think the salt is soaking in to that pasta, which is only giving you added benefits. So once the water is boiling and ready to go, I throw my tortellini in and I just cook it per what the directions say on the bag. So once I've got that done, I go ahead and drain the tortellini. I do go ahead and put some butter at the bottom of the pot to just let that soak into the tortellini as I am gonna pour that in there. I'm also adding some Alfredo sauce. So you could have easily just left the sauce and the tortellini together, and I do throw the chicken in there as well, and you could have just called it a day, but like I told you all, I kind of wanted to change it up, make it into a casserole. So I go ahead and mix the chicken in the rest of the Alfredo sauce, and I do end up putting some mozzarella cheese into the mixture. So once I've mixed that all together, I go ahead and spray my pan again with some cooking spray, and then I'm going to dump everything in. This is where you're going to see that I added some cheese to the tortellini. So just go ahead, you're going to pour everything into your casserole dish. If you want to go ahead and top it with more cheese, you definitely can do that. I made sure to reserve some of that chicken for a meal later in the week. This made a ton. This was a family-sized bag of tortellini. It made a lot, so we were able to have this for other dinners this week, as well as my husband was able to take this for lunch, and the kids had some for lunch as well. So my oven's a little wonky, so I popped it in the oven at 375 degrees for about 15 minutes, and once it was finished, this is what it looked like. It cooked perfectly. 15 minutes at 375 in my oven was perfection. It wasn't overdone. I did add some parsley flakes just for a little color, and it looks nice and pretty, and I also made some Sister Schubert rolls to go with it. On Wednesday night, we did a little what we call taco cheese and rice. So we go ahead, we make some rice with some taco mixture. I'm just gonna, to the pan, add about a pound of ground beef and cook that thoroughly. One of y'all have told me that you can find these little meat mashers at the Dollar Tree or the $1.25 tree. I have looked, I picked up some of the can openers from there because I break mine so easily, and unfortunately mine did not have that. So if you can find it, go for it. Grab some extra, give them as gifts because they would be wonderful. Mine's just from like Amazon or Walmart for $4 and change. Anyways, to my meat, I did season it with some salt, some pepper, some onion powder, and garlic. And then I always use the paper towel trick to pick up any of my grease. I don't lose meat and I don't end up burning myself. Works out perfect. To my taco mixture, I go ahead and add some chorizo. This is the beef chorizo. It's really inexpensive and it's so good. It adds an extra zest and kick to your taco meat. So after I've cooked my ground beef, I go ahead and add the beef chorizo and cook that till it's thoroughly finished. And I do add a packet of taco meat or taco seasoning to that. I also did some corn, some refried beans, and some rice. And you can make a little taco salad with it. You can make nachos, whatever your heart desires. We added some onions, black olives, and of course some sour cream to top it. It was absolutely delicious, and it's a super easy, budget-friendly meal. Last but not least, we have Thursday night. Now, if y'all saw my grocery haul, I told you about these dollar pizza doughs I found at Walmart. I'm also using some of the chicken that I used the other night. I had set some aside for this particular meal. So this pizza dough was totally new to me. It's been really hard to find the canned pizza dough, and it honestly worked out perfect. I would personally next time add my own extra seasonings to the dough. It was kind of on the bland side, but overall it did its job and it was pretty decent. You let it sit out to get to room temperature, and then of course I just put it all over, spread it out on the pans. I did use the other mixture of dough to make some cheese sticks. So to my pizza dough, I'm putting some barbecue sauce all over, and all that chicken that I had left over, I just literally piled it onto this pizza dough. It was so delicious. You can always add extra things like peppers and onions, black olives as well, but in all honesty, my kids aren't down for all of that extra. They just like cheese, chicken, and barbecue sauce. So it was very simple this night, but it worked. Anyways, I go ahead and I do add some mozzarella cheese to it, and then to give it an extra kick, I did add some sharp cheddar cheese on the dough as well. One thing I do wish that I did differently, instead of using cooking spray to spray the edges of the pizza, I do wish that I had gone in with maybe some olive oil and seasoned it up a little bit more. But at the end of the day, it did taste really well. It was a live and learn. It was very budget friendly. It was quick, it was easy, and it just doesn't get better than that. As far as cooking, I just follow the directions on there, 450 degrees for about 10 minutes, and it came out ooey gooey, nice and bubbly, and filled our tummies. So anyways, friends, that is everything for this week's What's for Dinner. Make sure to check my description box down below for any of the items you saw. I will make sure to have listed and linked for you all. I'll be back next week with another What's for Dinner budget friendly quick meal ideas for your family. And until next time, as always, kisses from Kentucky.